What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today, oh man, I'm waiting for this one. So this is Power Dagwon. So we're gonna be taking a look at this one today. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. Let's go. So let's take a look at the box. So first, of course, just like Fire Dagwon, pretty much just a product shot. Not my favorite for front box art, but you know, it'll do the job. So we've got the front, and this is the side, and this is the other side. So of course, you've got other product shots here, but pretty much just showing you like the different transformations and things like that. So we've got that for that side, and this is the top, and this is the bottom. So of course you've got warning markings and stuff like that. So this is pretty much in Japanese and English. So you've got that. And this is the back. So it's pretty much just like Fire Dagwon. But actually, if you get the Fire Dagwon box out, you can actually combine these pictures together. So, and these are what the boxes look like combined. So you get to finish the entire picture of Super Fire Dagwon. So I actually do like this. Now, if they ever sold this as a set, I would probably imagine that this would probably be like the front box art or do something similar to that. But that's what we've got for the box. So let's take a look inside. Next, so we're gonna take a look at what we've got in the box. So of course, first things first, let's pull this out. And of course, we have Power Dagwon there. Now, the middle of his chest, I've never known if this is a dragon or like a boar. I think it's a dragon, but so you've got that. You've got the front chest piece for Super Fire Dagwon. You have the drill arm here and here with the mini figure of Dag Fire. All right. And then you've got the bottom of the, it's based off of an excavator. So you've got that. So you've got that first. We've got, okay, so it looks like you just got the accessories there. So you've got the hands all the way down here. You've got, looks like the piece for the stand here. You've got the drill for the drill arm. You've got the infinity cannon. This is actually Gun Kid. That was his name in the show. He's actually a character kind of like Lion with the Lio Sword. So that's what you've got there, and you've got some connector pieces here and here, and it looks like you got the connector pieces for the infinity cannon there. So you've got that. Looks like you've got a nice big old stand here. Doesn't look like anything fancy. It looks like only Good Smile is the one's gonna give us kind of like the fancy stands, but you know, it'll do the job. So you've got that there. And then we've got the manual. So as we've got there with the triangle Christmas beam, but of course we'll get into that a little later. But yep, so that's what we've got for the content. So now let's take a look at the manual. Next, so let's take a look at the manual. So this was actually a little bit thicker than most manuals that I get, but it's actually because you actually have a manual for Power Dagwon and you've got a manual for Super Fire Dagwon. So that's pretty cool. So we've got that. We'll take that and put that to the side. So let's take a look and see what we got in here. So you got the parts count like usual for all of your stuff for that. And then you've got the instructions as far as how to put the excavator together. So yeah, Dagwon is actually one of my favorite shows in Brave. It's probably in my top 3. It's in my top 3. And, you know, it's very, very interesting. It's one of my favorite designs, as we know, especially Fire Dagwon and the combined form, which is Super Fire Dagwon. So, you know, I have been looking forward to this. We actually haven't gotten any new Dagwon figures in quite some time. And I actually have quite a few. I'd have to dig them out of my storage, but I do have quite a few. So we've got quite a bit going on here. It doesn't look like there's anything that's super crazy, but yeah, you know, like I understand that, especially in America, this is pretty much a niche because in America, Brave never showed. It never aired anywhere. The only series that we got was Gal Gaigar. And even that didn't actually finish getting dubbed. That only got dubbed till like the episode like 30 or something like that. And then, or like halfway through the series. I know that for a fact. Only halfway through the series, and they didn't even bother dubbing the rest because it just didn't do very well. And, you know, that's unfortunate. But, you know, for me, I love this design. And I was able to watch the show. You can find it around. They are kind of hard to get your hands on if you want an actual physical copy. And then there, to my knowledge, there has not been a Blu-ray release of Dagwon. I think they just finished Mike Gine, or no. Yeah, they finished Mike Gine, and they're just getting ready to release Jay Decker for Blu-ray. So it is possible that we may actually get a Blu-ray release for Dagwon. But of course, it's probably going to be Japanese only, no subtitles, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but if you're looking for a subtitled version, you're probably going to want to look on YouTube or something like that. So of course, okay, so now you've got the instructions just pretty much to how to form him into Super Fire Dagwon. Based on what I've seen, he actually pretty much transforms pretty much like he did in the show. I will give Sentinel credit. They didn't really have to do too many adjustments as far as getting him to work with a perfect transformation. So they got as close to the source material as possible, and that is always good. So it looks like that's what we've got there. Yep. So they're just going through that. Okay, so I think we've seen enough for the manuals. So next, we will actually take a look at its accessories. So let's get to that next. So let's take a look at his accessories. So first what we have is we actually have another Dag Fire. So he can go in Power Dagwon. This one you actually can put the different arms on. So really all you would do, these are actually his other arms here. Let's see, you got those other arms there. So you just take those and plug those in. So what we'll do is we'll just take this, take off his arms. All right, let's get that to refocus. There we go. And then what we're gonna do is take his arms and put these in here. All right, this like that, and boom, there you have it. So that's what Dag Fire looks like with his arms crossed. So I'm actually glad that they put that in there. So unfortunately, when it has to do with crossing arms on figures, they tend to be relatively difficult to do. But I think this is probably a good workaround for that. So that's what you have for Dag Fire. And then you actually have the backpack for Power Dagwon. So of course, this actually is the front plate for Super Fire Dagwon, but this is actually the back of Power Dagwon. So what you have, you can actually take the bird off here. So you can just connect that there. And so that comes separate. And then you can actually take, he actually has a cover, and you can post that right on there. Boom, just like that. And then, you know, these do move, so you do have a little bit of wiggle room. You can actually pull these out as well, but just be careful with that, you know. So yeah, so that would actually go on the back of them. So actually what we'll do, why don't we bring Power Dagwon? I just wanted to show that real quick before. Take Power Dagwon this, and then you would just stick it on the back here, just like this. So, but that's pretty much how it would look, just like that. So you can actually put him back. So that's what you have for the backpack. Then you actually have the attachments for the shovel. So here, this is actually the power drill arm. So once you attach that, that's what that would be called. But this is just the drill part of that. And then this is actually the power claw arm. So these actually do move, but these are the attachments for the shovel. So you can take the shovel head off and put those two on. So you've got that as well. So pretty nice looking there. So that's what you've got for his armaments for his arm. And then he's actually got 3 sets of hands. So of course he's got the closed fists that are on him. These are your articulated hands. You'll actually be using these for Super Fire Dagwon as well. But as you see, you can kind of move those around. They are a little stiff, but you know, you can move them around. So you've got those there. So you've got a set of the articulated hands. And then these hands are actually for the when he holds the Lio Sword. So he actually used that in the show as well. So not just Fire Dagwon. He didn't use it nearly as often as Fire Dagwon did, but he did use it in the show. So you got that. Also, it has the slanted wrist. If I can get that to focus, hold on. Yeah. So it's got the slanted wrist there. So you've got that part of it right there as well. So that's what you've got for his hands. And then you actually have the Infinity Cannon. Now, this is actually a character in the show, like I stated before. So this is actually Gun Kid. This is his transformed part. So he would connect to Power Dagwon and Fire Dagwon. That's what you've got there. So you've got the Infinity Cannon there. That does move. Handle does not move. It's pretty solid. Neither does the scope here. That doesn't move. But this is actually the body of Gun Kid right here. So, you know, you got some really good detail work in there. It's actually not that heavy. So you've got that, and you know, that's the barrel there. So we'll actually be putting that on both of them here a little later, but that's what you've got for the Infinity Cannon. And then this piece actually is for Fire Dagwon. So in order to hook up the Infinity Cannon, he'll actually need this. And we'll go through that a little later as well. So you've got that, and then you've got these two pieces here as well. So, and those are both for Super Fire Dagwon and for Fire Dagwon. So he will actually use both of those. So that's what you've got there. So that's what you've got for pretty much all of his accessories. So he's got a pretty decent amount. Now the thing about this set is that unlike the Fire Dagwon set, we actually did not get any like exclusive parts for this one, which is actually a shame because there's actually some effect parts that he actually could have used in here. But I'll actually talk about that here in a little later. But actually now we're gonna get into articulation, so let's get to that. Next, let's get into some articulation. So of course, with this guy, he's actually got a decent head movement. Now, the thing is, he does have a neck. There is like a ball joint in here, but so he does have range of movement, but it's kind of different how they did that because this hinge goes all the way back. That's actually for his transformation, and we'll actually get into that a little later. But he can look side to side. He can look up. He can look down. All right, this does spin from side to side. Now this one does not, to my knowledge, go 360. He really can't do that. So, but you know, he still's got pretty decent range of motion there. So that's what you have for the head. Then for the shoulder, he actually can raise it a decent amount. Now, the thing is, this is actually on, I wish I could show you this joint. It'd be easier to show you when he's actually in like his shovel form. But this joint actually has like 2 or 3 mechanisms in here. And so I think what that is limiting how high he can actually raise his arm. But even still, even with that limitation, that's actually still not horrible. We've definitely seen better on the channel, but it's not that bad. So that's what you have for the shoulder. And then for the bicep, this actually will spin 360. So he's got that there. And then he can also has a pretty good elbow bend there. So you've got that. And then for the forearm, this can actually spin 360 as well. So he can do that as well. You also have some good detail work in here. For the SMP version of Power Dagwon, all of this stuff, these details in here were all stickers. So it's actually nice because that actually looks like there's like a thing of glass or something on there. So that's actually the inner mechanism. So that's actually pretty cool there. So that's what you have for the arm. For the wrist, he can move that in. You see how that joint moves in and out like that. So he's got a pretty wide range of motion there. he can do it up and down as well. So he's got pretty good articulation for the wrist. Then for the midsection, he actually does have a pretty decent ab crunch. So he can look down, he can look up, kind of like that. So that's actually pretty decent right there. Now it's interesting because he does have side to side, so he can move side just like that. So Fire Dagwon had that. That was good for his posing. So he can move those both sides there. Now he cannot actually spin 360, and I'm gonna show you why. And what it is if you look, let's see if I can do this, and it's part of his transformation. I don't know if you can get a good shot of that, but actually let's pull his backpack off so you can see there. But he's got this little hinge thing here. And so when you spin it, it'll actually be hitting that. So it'll actually be hitting this metal part here because this is a lot of die cast in here. So I guess if you raised it, because it'll actually raise up like this, and you might be able to spin it then, but nah, it doesn't look like it. It looks like that's pretty much the limitation for that part there. But you know, he's still got a pretty good range of motion. I say what, probably between 45 and 90 degrees there. So, you know, so not the best that we've seen, but still pretty good. So let's move on. All right, so that's what we have for the ab. So he still has pretty good range for the ab. Just unfortunately, you can't do 360, but to be honest, you don't really need that. So now let's take a look at his waist. So for his waist, he does have his front skirts will move up here and here. And then, so will the side skirts, okay? But the back ones do not move. They are stationary, okay? So you can't move those. Now, if you look in here, this is all die cast in here. Now, when you first get this figure, especially here, I almost was afraid to move it because I was thinking that this was actually one piece, but it's actually not. This actually can move. So you actually can move that up that way. So you do have that. So you've got good range of motion for the hips. We can actually put all these back down. And then he actually can, on his thigh, can move it on a swivel. It does not go 360. All right. But it gets pretty close. Of course, you don't want to scratch the paint there. But what is that, 270? I'd probably say it's probably closer to 270 or so. You probably could get it to do it, but unfortunately, like once it starts hitting the sides, that you're going to start having difficulty there. So, you know, you got that. Of course, now he also has a drop down here at this point here. So you can actually have this kicked here. Now this is actually part of his transformation. That's the reason why that kind of looks weird like that. But since this part can move, we can actually pull up this front skirt and then move that whole thing. So he actually gets a pretty good range of motion right there. So that's a little bit more than 90 degrees. So you've got that. Can he do the splits? The answer is, let's actually get this stuff out of the way here. Try to move his front skirts there so you can actually see it. And then we'll move this side ones out of the way too. So of course, he actually can move that up there. All right, just like this, and this just like that. So as you can see, he can do the splits. It's pretty close. And usually I always show this just to show that he does have kind of wide of range of motion in the thighs and the hips, because that's very important for posing. So he can do it. We've seen better, of course, but still just not bad. So, you know, that's what you've got for the thighs. And then he's actually got a decent knee bend, okay? So he does have that there. Now, of course, this part actually came out. So let's put this back in there. Okay, so he's got a decent knee bend. Now, he's really bulky on the bottom of his legs. So there is no die cast in here that I can tell. And I also see just a little bit, it looks like that paint has rubbed off just a little bit on that knee there, you know, but ultimately it's not horrible. We've definitely seen better, but not bad, right? So that's what you got for the knees. And then for the feet, you've actually got 2 of these. So this actually is interesting because it's almost like on a swing bar here for the front of the toes. So you can actually pull that out, but more than likely in order for it to look correctly, you probably want that to go in. So you can move that in and then you move that up just like that. All right. So that's what you've got for the foot. And then this will move up and, side to side. So you do have decent range of motion there. You can actually move that up as well. Okay. So you've got decent range of motion for the feet. And then for the back, let's take a look here. For the back, this is also on another swing bar there. So you've got that, so you can move that up and down. That's for its transformation as well. All right, so you've got that. And then this one does not move. The back heel does not move from side to side, but you can move it up and down and in and out. So you've got that for the back heel. So that's what you've got for articulation. Pretty decent. I would probably say it's probably the best Power Dagwon that I've seen. Even with the limitations are not terrible. So he's still got a pretty wide range of motion, maybe not as much as Fire Dagwon, but still pretty good. So next we're actually going to do his transformation. So let's get to that. Next, I'm going to take you through his transformation. Now, of course, when you get him out of the box, he's pretty much going to come in these pieces like you see here. So of course, these are the tracks there. You're going to have the body of Power Dagwon there. And then you've got the shovel here. You actually have the other piece to this as well. And then you have the back piece here, and then you've got a support piece. And this is gonna come, all these things are gonna come into play here in a little bit. So what you're gonna do first, okay, so first things first, what we're gonna do, we're gonna start out with this part here, the shovel. Now, there are 2 ways to do his transformation. One's a super easy way, the other one's the more difficult way. I would call it the perfect transformation, but it's really not. You still have to pull pieces off. Unfortunately, there's no getting around it. All right, so first things first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna put these 2 things together here. So we're gonna put it in there just like this. So that's going to be your shovel part there. So we'll take this, and then you're gonna take the bottom part here, and then you're actually gonna take the body here, and you're gonna put these in these 2 holes here. So I'm gonna put these all the way in. Let's see if we can get those down in there. Now the actual legs are actually together. You can actually split them, but we'll go through that later. All right. So pretty much you're gonna have him just like this. So that's what we're gonna do first. Then next, what we're going to do is we're gonna take the head, all right, and we're gonna tilt this backwards like this, and then you're actually going to move this forward. So that will kind of sit in there just like this, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn him around, okay? And then we're actually gonna put his wings on the back. Now, some people actually have the bird part on here. You don't actually have to do it. I actually like it more like this just because in the anime, he didn't really have the bird showing yet because that's for Super Fire Dagwon. So what you're gonna do is you're going to put this on. So we're gonna take this, push this on, all right, just like that. What you're going to do is you're gonna take this and you're gonna lean this backwards, all right? So this is gonna lean backwards, just like this. Gotta get this all the way up. There we go. There we go, just like that. So now, for the arms, this is actually where the difference between the 2 transformations come. The super easy way is to actually just take the arms off. And so I'm going to take these off first. So we're gonna take this off here. All right. And then what you're gonna do is you're actually going to use the tracks here. And what we're gonna do is there's actually a little space to put your finger in right in there. And then what we'll do is we'll pop this out. The little big wheel tends to be a little bit more difficult to pop out. But so now you pop this out. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here and we're actually going to put it in. So, but in order to do that, it's actually got to be faced a certain way. Now, it's actually faced in the right direction, just like this. And what it's gonna do is gonna slide in here like this. All right, and then we're gonna take this, push that in there, boom. And it goes in just like that. All right, and then you'll take the cover. This piece here goes into that piece there, and actually let's make sure that's sticking out straight. Okay, so then this goes in like that. Put that in there, like that, and then those are the tracks. Now, the problem with this part is the fact that this piece, if you look at that, look how far that's sticking out there. And so this is prone to fall off. Now, you can, it is a way that you can store the arms. For me personally, probably if I was going to do it this way, I would actually just take the arms out and just kind of like put them in the box, or, you know, put them away somewhere. But, you know, you can do it that way. So we're going to do it that way. Let's do this with the other side. All right, so we got the second side back on there. So let's put this back in place here. All right, so like I said, the sides are prone to come off because they do stick out a little now. All right, so that's what you've got for this part here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take these wings and we're going to fold these in. All right, just like that. So he's actually, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece here, okay? And this piece actually goes in like this. So it's actually going to go right in here. Now, of course, you have to make sure that this back piece here is all the way straight. Mine was a little crooked before, okay? So we're going to take this, pump this in here, just like that, and that kind of rests like that. You can actually bring this back up a little bit there. All right, so he's now sitting just like this. And then we're going to take this part here. So we've got this part, and we're going to actually just take this and place this on here. Okay, just like that, and boom. There you have it. So this is the excavator part for Power Dagwon. So you've got it like that. So this is a super easy way to do this. In order to kind of get these together, you can actually use the arms, but it is a lot more complex. I don't know if I'm gonna do that or not, because this is just the easiest way to do it. But let's take you all the way through the transformation into Power Dagwon. All right, so to start his transformation, you got to keep Dag Fire right here. So he would usually jump on this and scream out Gouriki Gattai, which pretty much means like Herculean combination or something similar to that. So what he's actually doing to stand on here, he's actually got a little peg right there, and he's got a little slot in his foot. And so you would actually take this and then kind of have him there. Okay, just like that. So that's how you start it off. Do the reverse of what we just did. So we're gonna take him off, okay? And then we're gonna take this part, and then we're actually gonna take this out as well, okay? So we're gonna take that out. We're gonna take out this part here. All right, so that comes out just like that. All right, so we're gonna take this. All right, and we're gonna take this, we're gonna take these, put this back, just like this, and then we're gonna take his arms out, okay? So we're gonna do this. There we go, pull that out. And then take that, pull that out. Let's do the same thing to the other side. All right, so we got the other side out. Let's put this cover back on. All right, just like this. Now, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna take his arm and we're gonna put these back on here. So I'm gonna take that, push that in just like that. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna bring this back up. So kind of like how we started when we were putting him together. So we're gonna have him like this. Now we're actually gonna take this and split the legs. So we're gonna split those apart. So those come out just like that. I'm gonna actually move that out of the way. Okay, we're gonna lift this up, and then we're gonna take this, pull those out just like that. Right. We're gonna take these parts here, move that down, and then up just like that. Boom, just like that. And then we're gonna actually mess with his feet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, we're gonna move this up, We're gonna take this back heel. We're gonna pull this out. All right, just like that. And then we're gonna take this and push this back in. Just like that. So you can get a fair one there. So I actually kind of do like the swing bar there. That's actually pretty cool how they got it like that. So we're gonna take that, do the same here. Take this, push this back in. Let's see. There we go, just like that. What you do is we're gonna take this, move this part up. You have this panel here. And so what you do is you take this panel, move this around, flip this panel up just like this. And then this will snap onto the back there. Move that in. So you do that with same thing with the other side. Snap that in that way. Boom, there you have it. And we'll have him out. So now he is actually standing up just like that. Let's raise him up a little bit. We're gonna actually get this arm piece out here and we're gonna split this again. So we're gonna take this one out. Now, with this side, this part, this actual arm part will come out. You actually can pull it off, but you're not gonna be able to get this part out. At least, I mean, you may, but you know, you'd probably end up breaking it doing it. But so those do go in and out. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pull this apart. All right, let's see if we can pull that out. Boom, just like that. So this is this. So you've got this part here. We're gonna take this, push that in, and then push that up just like that. So that actually covers that part there. And it looks like, ooh, I got a little chip there. Okay, so you've got it kind of sitting like this. So this is actually going to become his shoulder, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this part here, and we're gonna take this, and then this actually goes up here, like that. All right, and now that does cover up that part. I don't know how that paint got chipped there. I'm not actually sure. But also, like when you're actually transforming back, trying to get this piece up or in out of that hole can be a problem. So you may want to use something soft. You only use something hard. I usually use like a mini screwdriver, but unfortunately you can scratch the paint or the finish off of this thing if you do it that way. Okay, so now you've got that. So we've done this part. We're gonna have it facing in this direction. And then you're gonna take this, put this on the arm just like that. All right, and then we're gonna take the shoulder, okay? And then we're gonna put this, and that slides on there just like that. There we go. All right, now we got him to slide. So as you see, that's his arms there. So we're kind of getting, this is all coming together. So we've got that part. Do the same on this side as well. So in there we go. So that kind of just slides in like that. Straighten that up. Then we're gonna raise his head. Okay, just like that. All right. And then for his hands, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take this part here, and then you're gonna move this in just like that. He's actually got his hand right in there. So you're gonna take this and then move this in. This will come out, okay? And then we can turn that around. All right, just like that. And then we're gonna do the same to this side. Boom, all right. So now we've got him like this. So now what we're going to do is he would actually jump off of here. So what we would do would just take him, pull him out. Now in order to put him in, you're gonna take this and you're gonna split this part here. So you're gonna take that and push that out here, and then the dragon head will actually move down this way. Now, this is where it actually starts to differ from the anime. So once he would jump in, at least in the anime, it always looked like he was standing up, okay? But for this one, he actually has to actually do a semi-transformation, kind of like in Fire Dagwon. So you're gonna take this, put his legs up like this. All right, and just be careful with this guy. He is a little flimsy, okay? So we're gonna take that, and then you're gonna take this, put him in here. All right, you're gonna drop him in there. All right, so he's kind of like in a semi-folded state. And then you would take him, close him up, push the head down, and boom, there you have it. Of course, his eyes would light up green, and he'd do his little pose thing, and he'd scream out, Power Dagwon. So that actually is the easy version of the transformation. So I think I'm going to stick with just this one for now. Just do it this way. It's a lot easier. But if you want to do the perfect one, really it just has to do with the arms, because the arms pretty much stay attached, right? So that's what you have for his transformation. Now let's actually get into using some of his weapons and some of his posing. Next, so we're going to actually take a look at some of his weapons and some of his posing. Now, the thing about this is actually for the power drill arm. So as you can see up here, so this is the drill here. And his actual articulation for this move is actually quite good. So the stance is correct. The only problem that I have is his head. And what it is because his head will only move about 45 degrees. And in order to pull this pose off, I would need to move that a little bit further to the left. That is the only thing that's keeping this from being the perfect pose for that. So with the drill arm, pretty much when Power Dagwon was introduced, he used this move. This bar would actually swing around in a circle. The drill arm would come out, and then pretty much he punched the enemy into oblivion. So, so it was a one-punch knockout. But yeah, as far as the actual posing, as far as the body and stuff is concerned, perfect. The only problem I have with him is the head, but that's unfortunate. Now, this is on a ball joint, and maybe I could pop that off, but I don't want to risk it just because, you know, these figures are expensive. I don't really want to be doing modifications and stuff to him. And I definitely don't want him to break, because, you know, if he breaks, I have to buy another one, and that's another $300 down the drain. So, but outside of the head, the pose is exactly perfect. So I actually do like this. So this is the power drill. Next, we actually have the power claw. So this is the other attachment. Let's actually move that back so you can see that. So that's what you've got for his other attachment. Pretty much he would just grab the opponent, and then you could either throw them into the air or, you know, body slam them down. Now, the problem with this is his arm, unfortunately, this shovel arm here, unfortunately, it does have some limitations. You can kind of spin it at the very tip, but this actually won't raise up anymore. So as you see, because once this goes, it'll go down, but it won't go up. Right, now I guess maybe we can try to turn this around. Let's see if that works. And no, that's not how I want it. So even though you can spin this, I actually wish that this would actually go up a little bit higher. So if he is gonna grab an opponent, he's not grabbing down. Now, of course, you can kind of split that up like that in order to prop that up. But he actually had this straight in the show when he would do this move. So, but that's what you've got. And then his arm would actually be raised up like that. So it'd be kind of like that. So, but yeah, so that's what you have for the drill arm. So he does have a little bit of articulation limitations for this actual, some nice range here. So you can actually spin that. But I just kind of wish this claw part would actually go up a little bit further. But anyway, so that's what you've got for the power claw. Next, we have Power Dagwon using the infinity cannon. So of course, in the show, what he would do is he would call for Gun Kid. Gun Kid would come down. He would transform into this cannon. It would hook up to the back here, okay? And then pretty much what he would do is this would load. So he would charge that shot like that. So that would load, and then he would use his anchor arm to kind of anchor him into the ground, because there's a pretty, it's pretty powerful. And so he would use this to kind of anchor himself into the ground. Let me see that, move that down so you can see that. So he would actually use this to kind of anchor himself into the ground, and then this would fire. So this actually is pretty awesome to see from a, cool factor standpoint. But he can actually hold it quite well. As you see, even though I'm using the base, he does not actually need the stand part of it in order to hold this. So I actually think that this is actually very well done. So that's what you have for the Infinity Cannon. And then we have Power Dagwon using the Fire Lio Sword. So this is interesting, right? Like he can hold it pretty good. He has the two hands in here. He can also hold it with the articulated hands as well. You know, now the thing is, in the show, he actually did not use this one that much. Mainly this was for Fire Dagwon, but he did use it a couple of times in the show. So the fact that he can pull off the two-handed pose, as I said, with a lot of figures, that's very difficult to do. And he does it with relative ease. Now, I will say for the dragon pieces here, you definitely want to be careful with these two like earpieces, because if you break that tab, it's kind of like with Fire Dagwon when I showed in that video. This has the same tabs in there, and I'll actually talk about that when I do the transformation into Super Fire Dagwon. But I want you to be cognizant, make sure that you don't break these, because if you break those, you're not going to be able to form Super Fire Dagwon. So I mean, you could probably try to fix it, but it has those small little tabs on there. And if you break them, you don't get another set of these either. And actually, I wish Sentinel had put another set of these in here just in case if those break, because unfortunately, that little tab in there is so small, and you end up messing with the arms, they'll end up popping out, etc., etc. So, that's what you've got for this. But this is the Fire Lio Sword. So now actually what we'll do is we'll actually get Fire Dagwon out, and we'll put the Infinity Cannon on him so you can see what that looks like. And lastly, before we actually get to Fire Dagwon, with Power Dagwon, there's actually a couple of moves that he had in the show that they actually missed. And I think that's why, especially since we didn't get any extra or pre-order parts with Power Dagwon, they could have had a lot of the effect parts in here. And you guys know I love effect parts way more than lighting gimmicks. Give me effect parts and I'll take them every time. So of course, first off, he can actually open his mouth. So unlike Fire Dagwon, he can actually open his mouth. And actually, you could have put an effect piece part in there, because he had a move called the Magma Blast. So literally it would shoot out like lava or, fire or whatever. So, you kind of missed the ball with that one, Sentinel. And then also he had the Power Burn. Now with Fire Dagwon, he had the Fire Star Burn. And pretty much what it was is just like this, it would have this ray that would come out of the crest on his head where the star is. And it would shoot like a star at the enemy. If you think of like Gattai, when he would do the Protecto Shade and it would like form a star and then shoot out at it, that's kind of like what this was. And so you could have had an effect part for that. You could have had an effect part for the Magma Blast as well. And so, that just would have been a nice little bonus that they could have put in, and you could have used them for Power Dagwon and Fire Dagwon. So unfortunately, they dropped the boat on that, but still very good. So actually now we'll actually take a look at Fire Dagwon with the Infinity Cannon. So I pulled out Fire Dagwon and put the Infinity Cannon on him. Now this actually is probably my favorite move in the show for both Dagwons. When he would have the Infinity Cannon, he'd pretty much raise his arm just like I have him set. Gun Kid would transform, put the little pieces on his back and on his side, and then he would connect this here. So this is an amazing shot. This is probably how I would actually have him displayed if I was going to have the Dagwon separate. I was actually thinking about getting a second set just so I could have one with Super Fire Dagwon and then with the other two Dagwons in front. But I think this is an amazing shot. Hopefully I'll be able to put some of the video of that in here, but this is amazing. I love it. Also, he can hold this without the stand. He can actually use the stand for support. You actually do have pieces to do that, but honestly, he doesn't need it. It stands just fine. So that's what we've got for Fire Dagwon. Now let's get into final thoughts. Next, so last thoughts on this guy. Wow, actually I started to like him more and more as I messed with him. And I think that he is a very, very solid figure. He does have some shortcomings, but I don't think that they're actually that big of a deal. I would actually say probably the biggest shortcoming that I think he has is with his head. Just the fact that he can't really rotate the head as much as I would like. And then also with the power shovel part of it, I just wish that you could kind of maneuver that just a little bit more than that. But I think outside of that, he's really solid. Also, I think that Sentinel dropped the ball as far as not giving us effect parts for this guy. And as I explained with the power burn and, you know, the magma blast and maybe some effect parts for Fire Dagwon, and maybe even throw in some ones for Super Fire Dagwon. I think they really could have done a lot with effect parts for these two figures, but mainly for Power Dagwon, his articulation is solid. Outside of his head and the power shovel, he can pretty much do everything that you've seen him do in the show. So I really don't have any negative parts about him other than those two pieces. Also, as far as the dragon with the two ears, like I said in the review, just be a little just when you're messing with that, especially when you're doing poses and stuff, because they'll tend to come out, just make sure you don't break that tab. And I'll go over that further in the Super Fire Dagwon review. But out of 10 stars, Power Dagwon gets a 9. I think a 9 is solid. He's right up there with Fire Dagwon. There's not really too many negative things I could say. This is exactly what I want as a Dagwon fan. I don't really think it gets any better than that. Also, he's really stable as well. You know, like with Fire Dagwon, I had a little bit of a problem with his feet as far as kind of getting him in the positions that I wanted him. But with Power Dagwon, I don't have that issue, especially because he's got bigger feet than Fire Dagwon. So, so that helps out a lot. So, of course, next, what we'll be doing for the next review, of course, is we're going to be getting into Super Fire Dagwon. I thought that deserved its own video in itself. So that one will probably be coming out within the next 2 to 3 days. And we'll go through the review for that. But for this one, if you guys have not seen Dagwon, definitely give it a try. If you're a Brave fan, or if you just like transforming robots in particular, this is more of like the Sentai. This is more of like the Sentai anime for the Brave franchise. So it takes a lot of elements from Transformers and Sentai elements, kind of like Power Rangers and stuff like that. So if you kind of like those shows, I would definitely give this a try. It is one of my favorite shows. Like I said, it's in my top 3. So, you know, if you haven't tried it out, definitely give it a try. But anyways, so that's what I've got for you today. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.